It is estimated that 1,700 South Africans become infected with HIV every day. Over 4.5 million of us are currently infected with HIV. But the truth is, all 42 million South Africans are affected by HIV/AIDS in one way or another. That is each and every one of us. We're about to meet 5 brave women who are not HIV positive. These women are affected by HIV/AIDS through the infection of their children. We brought these women together over dinner to share their experiences with each other and with us. It is their hope that these conversations will be sparks that ignite a flame of understanding in all of us. Selma is a retired doctor living in Johannesburg. She has 3 grown-up sons. Together with her friend, Sbongile, Selma formed an action group for parents.
How are you? I'm okay.
Sbongile has 1 son and lives in Soweto.
Oh, hello, Joyce.
Joyce is a mother of 6 and grandmother of 2 from Wattville near Benoni. Lydia is a businesswoman from Cape Town.
Lydia. Hello, Lydia.
She has 1 son. Louisa is a mother of 3 from Easterus, near Pretoria.
I'm Louisa, you must be Selma.
I am Selma. I would like to show you a picture of me and my son when I had a birthday party that was a surprise. His name is Lucky. He's now 34. He works for one of the publications. And he's HIV positive, and he has 2 wonderful, wonderful children. I love them to bits. You look so glamorous. I've never shown any pictures before.
I have a picture here as well of my son, Brett. And Brett is 31 and also HIV positive. He was diagnosed in 99.
Very handsome. Oh, isn't he? It's a pity I don't have a daughter. You look like brother and sister now. It's amazing.
I also have a picture of my daughter here. Her name is Charlene. But what I like most of this picture, if you can have a look at it, she's got a lot of children around her. She was diagnosed HIV positive in 1997. And I'll tell you, the amount of work and positiveness that comes out of her is amazing. She actually strengthens us.
The picture I've got is when my little boy was a little boy. Paul is only 10, and he became HIV positive when he was about 22.
So you have the 3 boys?
3 boys.
3 boys.
Yeah.
Are you in here?
That's me.
Much younger then, eh?
Well, my son is now 42.
Here I've got a photograph. This is my grandson. Her name is Tabiso. He born HIV positive. My daughter was married. Tabiso's father was positive. HIV positive. Now my daughter gets that HIV from him.
So your daughter and your grandson?
Yes, my daughter and my grandson.
Oh, okay. Yes, oh, he's lovely. Isn't he cute?
They are all right. You can see them. They are positive, but they still live well.
How many years has she been positive?
It's more than 11 years because the son is 11 years.
Yes. Yeah. So it could be around 12.
Yes,
It was from the 9 months when she was expecting. The amazing thing is that your daughter has lived more than 11 years. Obviously, without even realizing it, you've done the right thing to prolong life. And that's, love and support, which obviously you gave your children. There's a lot that we can learn from one another because we're from different angles of life. We're from different cultures. I think it is then very important for us to share these experiences. When you are teaching a mother, you're actually teaching a nation. So we are these mothers that should really set an example and go out there and teach other mothers that there is life after HIV and AIDS.
Sbongile, let me understand Lucky, your son is the one who does the write-ups in the newspaper.
Yes, yes. That's
My daughter will always read these things to me, and she says to me, Mummy, just listen to Just Call Me Lucky. Just call me Lucky. And she'll read all these things, and of course she educates me as well.
Oh, yes.
I think he's fantastic.
Thank you very much. I've learned most of the things that I know today about HIV and AIDS is what I learned from him. Did you have difficulty in giving support?
I get a lot of problems. When I start to hear my child is HIV, I was so sick. I can't eat, I can't talk, I can't do anything. I must just have a water and sleep. I just ask myself what I'm going to say to people outside here. But I used to pray and ask God what to do with this.
I can relate to you, Joyce. When my son became ill over Easter in 1999, he didn't know what he had. And I certainly didn't know anything about HIV or AIDS. And
But you'd heard of it?
I'd heard of it, but that's as far as
And
it went.
you thought it was just too far? Just
Yes,
too far.
it didn't. Nobody I knew had suffered with it. And he went for a blood test. He said to me, "It's positive." And stupidly, I said, "Well, that's good news." And he said, "No, Mom." I didn't even realize what he meant.
Something positive is good. Something
Yes. But I remember driving through to my brother, as the only person I could think of to go and to talk to, and telling him, but he didn't know any more than I did. So it wasn't, besides having a stiff whiskey to drink, I didn't know very much else at all. Anyway, the following week I met with Brett. He decided that it would be time for his father and me to meet with him and his doctor. And she explained things as well as she could in layman's terms. And I could see Brett's father was having a big problem with this. And to others, it didn't look like I was, because I just accepted on the exterior. But inside, I didn't.
Well, when you say you didn't accept, you mean you were traumatized?
Traumatized, and actually which developed into a kind of, you shelve it to the back of your mind, it's not real, it's denial. I felt as if I was sitting on a shelf looking down on myself and the rest of them.
When I think of when I found out that Charlene was positive, you know, it was a matter of she had been sick all the time as well. And eventually I got upset with it because, you know, it was a strained relationship already because I was also divorced from the father and left them. And I wasn't very close to her. And then suddenly she came over, she stayed with me. And, you know, she was sick all the time. And I come home from work and she's lying around and she hasn't cooked, she hasn't cleaned, she hasn't done anything. And I said to her, "Please, won't you just go to the clinic and, you know, let the doctor examine you and see what is going on?" She phoned me the one day. She says to me, "Mummy, I'm positive." And I said to her, "What do you mean you're positive?" You know? She says, "No, I'm HIV positive." And I said to her, "Okay, my girl, don't worry. I'll speak to you later." And I put the phone down. You know, at that point in time, it didn't strike me what was going on. But as the day went on, I said, "Goodness me, here's now a death sentence. My child is dying." You see, my child is dying. I got home, put off my cell phone. I went to the carousel. I was staying in Hammanskraal then. I went to the carousel. I had a gold card, and I went and I drank myself to a standstill. You know, I wanted to blot out the whole world and everything that was happening around me. See, I really drank
And at
myself.
that point, that was the only help you could think of.
It was the only thing that I got solace in. It couldn't talk back to me because if I spoke to somebody else, you know, they would tell me something else that I didn't want to hear. And at the same time, it was a matter of how am I going to tell my mother? How am I going to tell my brothers, my sisters? How are they going to accept it? Because at that point in time, it was still that stigma around HIV/AIDS. And the guilt trip at the same time, that perhaps if I'd stayed with the father, maybe it would never have happened.
That's how you feel as a mother. You somehow feel maybe there's something wrong that I've done. Maybe I haven't taught my child good morals.
You know, I was so sick when I hear my child is positive. HIV positive because he couldn't tell me. Her friends coming to tell me, oh, I was so sick. I say, why didn't you tell me? I don't want to hear something about you with your friends, man. Why didn't you come straight and tell me such a thing?
What did she say?
He said he was scared.
In case you would be close.
Yeah.
I think
he
that
never-
comes back to us as well, that we need to build relationships with our children. We need to talk around anything, because, I mean, I've never spoken to my mother about sex.
Yes, sure. Sure.
Even now, at this age, I don't think I could really go up to her and say, it just can't come out of my mouth.
That is why our children can't come and tell us something like that, you know, because we'll never be free to our children. But it's that time.
Before I remarried my husband Ralph, I was single for a while. And my son used to come round and give me education lessons. He said, Mom, you can't go out and do this or do that and the other. He said, you have to get condoms. I had to get condoms. He said, I'll get them for you. Yes. And he did. He bought me a box of Rough Riders.
That's what's quite hilarious, actually.
Whatever you do, don't miss that call. The Coca-Cola Mega Millions game. You could win up to 5 million rand. Weekdays live on SABC3 at 5 to 7. You enter, we draw, we call, you win.
A must-see on 3.
Ron came through with the name Anthony, which is my father.
They tell me that the father that I'm referring to passes from some type of heart-related issue.
And he also came through with the name Joseph, which is my son.
Who's Joey?
That's my son.
There's an older female who's connected as Rose.
She interrupted everybody, and that's the way she was.
Somebody's coming across and they're trying to talk about either a brain tumor.
When he said that he had a brain tumor, then I really knew that he was here. He's still with us and he knows what's going on.
Crossing Over with John Edwards starts the 1st of April at 10:30. A must-see on 3.
I think we should all eat. It's time for eating. Louisa, why don't you go and help yourself, Sola? Okay.
Thank you, I will.
I think what really pains me up till now is that when we started talking with my son, he told me that he has been HIV positive for 3 years. I always ask myself, where were you, Sibongile, when your child was dealing with his emotions in the 3 years? And that taught me that the most important thing to do was to relate to my child rather than just letting him do or deal with his own personal problems. And I also remember when I said to him one morning, "Are you coming with me?" And he said, "No, Ma, I'm not coming with you. I'm tired, I want to sleep." At that point, the only thing that came to my mind is that he was lazy. He didn't want to have to go to work, and yet he had 2 children. And yet, when I think back, I think that was the time he was dealing with his emotions. And that really shocked me because, like, he happens to be my only child. And I think it was important for us to build a relationship then. But the most interesting thing now is that we have such a wonderful relationship that I don't know how many times a day do I phone him.
It's so interesting, you know, because everybody's different experience. Mine is quite different because of being a doctor, and my son is a doctor. In fact, this is a photograph of him being, when he got his graduation.
Oh, lovely.
Have a look. In those days, we knew very little. This was the early 1980s, and all we knew about HIV then was what was happening in America, where everybody was just dying. There was nothing that you could do. I mean, it was more painful than I was finished. But the thing was that it was so terrible that I didn't want to tell my husband and put him through what I was going through, because I felt, why put him through the agony when he's going to die? Obviously, nobody in those days, you didn't know. I mean, nobody lived for very long. So I felt that I'd rather keep it to myself entirely, and only when he got sick, then it was time to tell my husband. So for a whole year, I kept it to myself and didn't tell another soul. And it was the most terrible year. And then I went to London to see him. After his house job, he did a year of drama. And when I saw my son on the stage, I broke down so completely that my cousin said, you absolutely must tell your husband. You can't protect him, you've got to.
You know what is so strange, ladies, is when, you know, previously, when people spoke about HIV/AIDS, I never ever thought that I would have to deal with AIDS in my life or in my immediate family. To me, it was a matter of, it is a black disease, it only affects black people, and it will never, never enter into my family, okay? And unfortunately, the day when my daughter was diagnosed, then I had to face reality. You know, I actually love the way my daughter does her disclosures, and she will always tell you, she'll say, the first thing she said was, Lord, what is wrong with you? Are you colorblind? I'm not black, why me?
I had quite a problem with stigma within my own community for two reasons. A, when my son disclosed that he was gay, that was one issue. And then 2 years later, when he was diagnosed as HIV positive. So I didn't have it within my own close family, but your friends and the community, people are very nosy, and they're very quick to say nasty things. And because you yourself haven't dealt with it properly or accepted everything yourself, it's even worse.
First, when you hear that she's gay, how did you feel?
That I could accept. I think subconsciously I'd known for a few years. I could accept that. It wasn't difficult for me. For my son's biological father, that was very difficult for him to accept.
His biological father?
Yes, his own father.
In my house, there's my son-in-law who think these things, you call it to come to you.
Yes.
Because he always tells my daughter that he won't reach 40 years. And he's with my daughter.
Yes.
And this is my daughter also. I don't know what to say to him because I always wanted them to be together.
Sure.
Is there anybody you know that he has regard for? You could talk to him, do you know?
Yes, there is someone I can talk to.
There is, because it's terribly important. His whole attitude needs to be changed, and the only way to do it is to get somebody to talk to him who knows how to do it.
Deep down inside, my worry is not about Charlene. My worry is about the other two, how they are handling it.
They obviously are not, there's no rejection or anything, so what are you worried about?
No, there's no rejection. I just don't know how they deal with it, because let me tell you, when Charlene was so sick in bed, Megan, who is the youngest one, she started staying out of school. She couldn't concentrate. It was a matter of, I have to be at home, I have to be close by, because my sister is sick, all right? The young man, my son, he used to be out of the house every opportunity he had.
So that's how they reacted to fear of her dying. But now that she's on the medication, and they don't have to have that fear at all at the moment. Perhaps you should just actually sit down and discuss it with them and give them all the facts.
Thank you. I actually didn't realize that, you know, after the trauma we went through and after her going on to the antiretrovirals, that we were supposed to get together again as a family and
very important.
and discuss it. So
Very
maybe that is where...
Very important. You must keep in contact with them and what they're feeling.
That will tell them that you are also concerned about them as well, as they're your children as well. It shouldn't be like it's Charlene and no one else. My concern I sometimes worry whether the support is genuine or the support is because of whom my son is today.
Because he's well known.
Yes.
You think if he wasn't well known, they might not be so supportive.
Yes, and what will happen when he'll be ill at some point? What will happen? Will these people still be there?
Sibongile, maybe I can share with you, when Charlene was very sick in August and September, I'll tell you that is where I realized that the community plays a very, very major role.
Yes.
I'll tell you, the women in the community during the day that come home, that pray, there was someone who looked after her from 8 o'clock in the morning until 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
That's where you live in Pretoria?
In Pretoria, in Easterus.
Isn't that wonderful, Dave?
It is.
But you didn't expect it?
Yeah.
It actually built my faith so much in humanity.
For me, I have a different fear. As you say, everybody has to die at some stage. But my own fear is that if Brett gets ill, and if and when, I don't know how I will deal with that. That I really don't know. And that worries me.
Well, I think what you're saying is what we all feel. I kept thinking, how does one cope? Of course one does in the end, but it's that terrible fear. That's exactly, you've expressed exactly what I felt for the first, 15 years or something, until the new drugs came in. I didn't know how I would cope with it.
Weight-bearing exercises and calcium are essential for strong bones. So put your back into it and take one Caltrate Plus tablet every day to be sure of a better life, now and later. Caltrate Plus. It's never too late or too early.
From the top of the charts, it's Cutting J's new double CD set, Between Two Lives.
Maybe I'm just a little sentimental, babe, I gotta find a girl just as crazy. Look at me now, like I'm look at me now.
An awesome 2 CD set, Cutting J, Between Two Lives. Get it now.
After my daughter, he get pregnant, he started to be worried. He drinks some sleeping tablets. She nearly died. They say he drinks plenty tablets. He wanted to kill himself.
She wanted to kill herself?
Yes, he say they told him she's going to die. She's got a little bit days because she's now pregnant again. He say no, it's better to die now.
Who told her?
I don't know who tell her, because when I come back from
Petersburg, the wrong messages. Even in the counseling, sometimes they prepare them for death instead of preparing them for living.
When I look at Charlene, how sick she was August and September last year, it was a matter of, she was going to die at any time. But because of the strong person that she is, she never said a word to us. The next thing she said, Ma, I'm going on to antiretrovirals. And I said to her, if that is what you want to do, then it's fine. We will be supportive. And I'll tell you, there's just been a change in her health.
This is why I feel that we've got to do what we can to keep our children alive long enough until the antiretrovirals start coming in. The only time I felt better was when the new cocktail came out. And his viral load came right down to undetectable. And suddenly I realized that he was going to live. My whole world changed. Yes. His and mine, completely.
My son is not on drugs as yet, but he's doing quite well because he eats properly, he rests, he drinks water. You can also live a very long and productive life without drugs. Until then, when we all could afford them or they could be rolled out, you can live a very productive life. Until then.
You know what is so amazing of finding myself in a situation like this, being a very, very proud mother of an HIV-positive daughter. I have become an activist, HIV/AIDS awareness activist. I've, even at my place of employment, I've embarked on that project of creating an awareness in the workplace. That is my pride. I cry many tears many times, but inwardly, I am strong. I'm strong. And it's so nice to have parents around me who experience what I have experienced. And I think we can only build one another and help one another.
Other people, they hate us, you know. Okay. Even families. Even other families, they hate you because you've got a HIV child in your house. They don't want to come to you because you'll give them this HIV, yes, because you've got it in parcel to give people, you see? So, yes, you make parcels to give to somebody because your child is positive, HIV. So I'm strong, and I don't want anybody to tell me I mustn't speak with it. I just tell anybody HIV is there. Yes.
You know, I draw a strong distinction as we try and teach between privacy and secrecy, because secrecy is really dangerous. Once it's a secret and a dark secret, then the stigma comes and so on. Privacy is something else. When I saw the ignorance of the parents, exactly as you described, Joyce, they throw children out of the house. They reject them. They lock them in the rooms. They won't allow them to eat from the same plate. We saw that. I realized that the only thing to do is to go public and to try, and that's why a miracle brought me to Sibongile, absolutely.
I really think that we need to do our utmost best to reach as many people as we possibly can.
The thing I've learned has been echoed by many of you right now, but one of the big things, I think, is just never to judge anybody.
Yes.
That's where most of the problems arise. He's got AIDS because he's black, or he's gay, or whatever the case may be, and you can't judge.
My son's HIV status has made me realize that I really have the ability to go out there and be of help to other people. And it has also helped me to learn that there is so much that we can do for one another. This virus belongs to all of us. Let us attack it. I don't think it will defeat us. If we go out there and fight it, we will end up winning. It can't win. Yes,
The stars of Isidingo as you've never seen them before.
Go on. Do you still have your big Tuesday girls' night out?
No, actually, tonight I have a date with a surgeon who is taking me to the Rainbow Room.
Got your 3 messages, Nikki. We are on for girls' night out.
Why don't you invite Caitlin to come?
Or I could smear honey all over my body and lie down on an anthill.
I was with you till the anthill.
Caitlin is not coming to girls' night.
Oh, so I guess that answers the question. Is Caitlin coming to girls' night?
Girls' night?
I'm sorry, my voice carries. Now she's gonna think you want her to come.
Great, I'll cancel my date.
Oh, no, you don't have to do that.
Oh, that's okay. I am so sick of the Rainbow Room.
Can't believe we're breaking into our own office.
Relax. Probably doesn't even break the penal code.
What code?
You never listen. I said penal. Penal.